when I was a kid in school, the word bully, I mean, it really, you always pictured like this really big guy beating up children for their lunch money, you know? Bullies didn't come in all shapes and sizes, and today bullies come in all shapes and sizes. It can be done anonymously through the internet. So I think that the term bully has changed. It's grown and it's developed into something very insidious. You don't see it coming. It can come from any direction. And we see that every day in the news with children who are bullied via, you know, through websites, through Facebook, through Twitter, through MySpace.
I think nowadays kids are being bullied a lot more than before. Cyberbullying, it's a big thing. Kids are not even going to extremes just to feel relief.
When I was in 5th grade, I was that girl that got Coke bottle glasses and was kind of chubby, and I thought that nobody would ever want to be my friend. And for a while, it did really end up that way. I got picked on and teased, called all kinds of names. There was a boy that I had an endless crush on in the 5th grade, and I got up the courage to tell him, and he responded with, "No way, I'm never going to go out with that fat cow." And fat cow stuck for probably the next couple of years.
I was bullied, and I could relate to kids that have been bullied, but I really want to let them know, like, it gets better over the years. Life is hard. We all know life is hard and we all have obstacles, but at the end, we have to get through it. We have to have our own support.
I think everybody's been bullied to an extent. Mine was more of a insignificant issue, but it still kind of affected me to an extent. When I was 10, I moved here from Tennessee. Well, I moved to South Florida, so I had kind of a southern accent, and nobody in you know, where I moved in South Florida had a southern accent, so I got bullied. I got picked on for that a little bit.
I remember being called names, being hit, smacked, you know, things like that. I would always end up hanging out with like the underdogs, with the outsiders.
During kickball, there was this one really tall, strong girl that just decided that I needed to be picked on every single day, and so it got to the point that I didn't dress out, and I started calling and not going to school because I would pretend to be sick because I didn't want to deal with it. And that eventually got better too. We grew up and she stopped picking on me.
Being in sports all of my life, you know, I've always been the popular kid at school. So I've witnessed, you know, people being bullied and people bullying people. And just being that leader, I felt like maybe I could have stepped in and said something to make the situation better. I
became his friend after the fact that he was constantly being bullied. He was more on the chubbier side, and just all through in class, you know, he would get called names constantly. Almost basically the entire class would pick on him, and I actually ended up befriending this kid. Not for that reason. Just we were, you know, on the playground one day and we just started hanging out. And, you know, we became good friends.
So maybe I could have went to the person or the bully and said, "Hey, you know, that's not right. That's not cool." You know.
Most people can't relate because maybe they fit into a niche in society, or they fit into a niche in high school, and they don't experience bullying. They're usually the people who are bullied, who bully people.
Because we never really know how that bullying may affect the next person. I mean, a lot of us sit back and we watch, and some may even laugh, because I was the one on the sideline that always laughed at the bullying going on.
In high school, though, I ended up going to a school where I had a best friend, and I ended up a part of the in crowd. And to this day, what stands out more for me than any of the bullying I experienced as a younger child, what stands out most for me is the time I did not actively participate to stop somebody from being bullied. That's what haunts me more today than any of the bullying I was the victim of. And if there was anything I could say, it would be for people who are witnesses to bullying, if there's a way to step up and do something about it, those will be the moments you regret in life, not the moments where you're the bully. The moments you'll end up regretting are the moments when you know you could have done something and you stood by idly and you didn't, or you laughed and you participated in it as well, even if you weren't the active person initiating it. I think it's important that people as witnesses take a stand against it as well.
I could see what he was going through because he was a really, I mean, if he wasn't, if he and I didn't become like best friends, like he's still a really good friend of mine to this day. If he and I didn't become best friends, then it probably wouldn't have affected me as much, you know. But it was just, you know, when we were in class, the whole class would start picking on him. Then at the lunchroom, and you know, just basically everywhere.
Maybe not being aware of how the bullying affects these children. I mean, and when you get older, these children take heed to being bullied, and they want to go out and maybe bully other people because they feel they want to take their anger out on the next person or their next victim. So I mean, it's just a cycle that leads on. And
you know, I became a bully later on in life. You know, I was in high school, I played sports. There were always, you know, teammates that, you know, had their own personal issues that some of us would latch onto and make fun of them for. And at the time, you know, I never put myself in their position, and I never really thought about how that was making them feel. And
as we've done with our research, me and my team, we found out many stories where people have committed suicide and hurt themselves because they didn't know who to go to, or they felt they didn't have any help.
But there's a lot more resources out there. If I was younger, I probably would have liked to know them more. But I think we're advocating a lot more, especially with gay teens, and through advocating like the Trevor Project, having a helpline for kids who not go to extreme measurements after being bullied in school. There's really an outcry just to express how you feel, so you don't take those extreme measurements.
Well, there's also supportive groups out there that are very supportive. There's a website, itgetsbetter.org.
Maybe take more of us out there as leaders to step in and try to do something. I mean, we won't be able to stop it or completely wash bullying out, but I mean, I think we can step up and take a step towards helping.
I think that's the big thing to remember, is that you can move past pretty much anything, and there are people out there that care, that want to help you, that are there to listen, to help you find help if you need it. Also to help you help someone else. If you don't know you see someone being bullied and you don't know how to help them, just reach out. There's all kinds of websites and helplines. Itgetsbetter.org is a good one. But yeah, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Whenever you think there isn't, there always is. It gets better!